Hi, my name is Dr. Terry Jones, and this is the Braveheart Show. Islam is of the devil. If you look at the development in the world, you can see that to be a very, very clear statement. You can see a very aggressive religion that's desire is not only to convert people to their religion, but it's to oppress people, to change the laws of the land. It is not a people or religion that desires to integrate into our Western society, accept our Constitution. It is a religion, it is a political force that wishes to overthrow our way of life, our Constitution, our government. You see this very clearly in Great Britain. You see they're a great nation of the past that conquered the world, that went all around the world. There's influences everywhere to be found. You see that through ignorance, political correctness. You see how they are losing ground. You see how they are continuing to give in to the pressures of Islam. That is something we cannot afford to do here in the United States of America. We cannot give in to pressure. One of the reasons for this program is to call back that pioneer spirit, that spirit that is here in America, perhaps buried very deep, but it's not gone. It is not totally invisible. It has not totally been destroyed. To call that back to the churches, to call that back to our society, to see that we are facing a force. We are facing an evil force whose desire is to oppress us, whose desire is to conform us to their way of thinking and religion. And if we give in, if we do not stand up, then things will happen to us in America. Same things will happen that are happening right now in Great Britain. Hard to believe. But because of pressure from Islam, they are dropping certain historical facts in their schools. They are dropping the teaching. They are dropping the historical fact of World War II, of the Holocaust, to appease the Muslims. 60%. It's always the excuse by the liberals that there's only a few. Only a few radical. You cannot blame every Muslim for 9/11, for every terrorist attack. But what we're actually seeing in the world, and even according to their survey in England, that actually the younger generation is becoming much, much more radical than their parents, than their grandparents. They did a survey. Hard to believe. But this is the direction of this religion. This is the force. This is their determination. They are determined to accomplish their goal. If you watch them, you see that they take little kids and they begin to teach them. They begin to tell them about Islam and the goals, giving their life, being committed. Right now, 60% of all Muslims in Great Britain, they desire to be ruled under Islamic law. Islamic law is one of the most brutal things you can imagine, where for minor infractions you can be tortured, you can be beaten, you can be stoned to death without any real proof. 316 schools in Great Britain no longer speak English as their major language. It is said that in 60 years, the English people will become a minority within their own country. In other parts of Europe, the prediction is even much less time, and the whole country, or the continent, will be dominated by Islam. It is time that we stand up. We must stand up for America, and especially we as Christians We must stand up because of the brutality of the law. The Muslims, they just had a rally in Washington, D.C. One of the main speakers of that rally, they interviewed him. They said, "What is your desire? What do you want?" And they said, "We want Islamic law." And they asked the guy right there on television. They said, "But actually, under Islamic law, homosexuals must be put to death." Right there in the United States of America. In our capital city, right there. He said, "Yes, that is true. We want this nation to be put under Islamic law. And if that happens, we will put all homosexuals to death." That should wake us up. That should give us a revelation that we are not dealing with a different type of thinking, but we are dealing with something evil. We're dealing with a determination. Some of our people here at Dove World Outreach Center go out every day to evangelize. Today they went to one of the local town plazas. They talked there to a young Muslim man, 25 years old. This is what he said. He said, "Islam will take over." He said, "It is our desire that Islam takes over America." One of the young ladies had a baby with her. He looks down at that baby and he says, "And that baby will convert to Islam." That is their determination. Where is our determination? Do we want to be ruled by that religion? Well, we have countries like Saudi Arabia that we even consider to be friends. They are to be moderates, but they are ruled by Islamic law. And in that nation, if you're a woman, you cannot obtain a driver's license. You cannot eat in public. You cannot walk the streets. You cannot walk down the street by yourself because you could be arrested. You could be arrested for prostitution. We must stand up. We recently got an email from England. It shows the stupidity of our times. It shows the lack of willingness. It shows the cowardness of the Christians. The email read, "Yes, we know that we have a problem in England with Islam, but Jesus is greater." That is a bunch of religious garbage. Jesus is only greater if he's greater through us. Otherwise we will accomplish nothing. What do? They say Allah is greater and then they do something. We as Christians, do not be fooled. Do not be deceived, the Bible says. We can proclaim that Jesus is greater, but unless we do something, unless we come out of hiding, unless we begin to fight, unless we begin to march, unless we begin to stand up, unless we begin to put our life on the line, we will lose. It is a fact. It is a proven fact. We see it in Europe. We see it in England. We see it in other countries where Islam has taken over. The Christians have lost, have been killed, and been tortured. We must do something. We must stand up. And the Bible says there's a time for everything. Maybe this is our time. There's a time for love. There's a time that we love God so much and the people who are lost that we reach out. There's a time for hate. We must hate evil. We must hate what evil does to people. There's a time for war. There's a war going on. There's a war going on right now in the natural and in the spiritual. And there's a time for peace. Having peace with God because we know we are doing the right thing. Thank you.